Latest news: according to Samobile, two firmwares are being developed for the Galaxy S9 and S9. The G960FXXUOAQi5 and G965FXXUOAQi5. This means the model numbers of the regular Galaxy S9 is SMG960 and the Galaxy S9 is SMG965. This follows on from the Galaxy S8 and S8s model numbers SMG950 and SMG955. Read on to find out more about the two flagship phones of 2018. Samsung has a lot to do to impress us again. The fact that Apple's new iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus and iPhone X have now been announced, and with the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL providing a seriously impressive smartphone camera, competition has heated up. In fact, the upcoming Galaxy S9 and S9 have competition from its very own the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8, which in a year's time will both drop in price, making the latter two a lot more appealing. We found the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 among the best phones out there. In fact, they're among the best Android smartphone you can buy. They're fast as you'd expect, and its edge-to-edge screen with that sweet 189 aspect ratio means it's gorgeous, too. Read next: best smartphone 2017 Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 UK price and release date. When will the flagship phones come out? Expected around March 2017, around £700 for the S9 and £800 for S9. The Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 were pretty expensive when they were released, even for a flagship phone, at £679 and £779 respectively. They were bordering on iPhone territory. But if you're hoping the S9 and S9 will be cheaper, you're probably going to be disappointed. The Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 were a huge success at the current price point, so Samsung has no reason to reduce the price of the S9. What's more, it's very unusual to see a manufacturer reduce the price of a new handset. Usually, the RRP just goes upwards with each new release. The Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 have been a huge success at the current price point, so Samsung has no reason to reduce the price of the S9 or S9. What's more, it's very unusual to see a manufacturer reduce the price of a new handset. Usually, the RRP just goes upwards with each new release. Samsung generally releases its phones at MWC or at its own dedicated events later in the year. If Samsung is planning to unveil the Samsung S9 at Mobile World Congress or MWC, we should see this in February 2018. If Samsung decides to do what it did earlier this year, however, and release the S9 and S9 at its own event, expect to see it in March or April of 2018. Judging by the release date of the S8 and S9, the latter seems most likely. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 specs at a glance: expected March 2017, around £700 for S9 and £800 for S9. Qualcomm Snapdragon 8456GB of RAM, 18.59 aspect ratio HDR display, mounted fingerprint reader, 2 12-megapixel cameras with 10x optical zoom and 1000 fps waterproof, better battery life over the S8 and S9 respectively, integration with Bixby, 64GB internal space, up to 256GB USB 3.1 Type-A, no headphone jack, Android 8. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 specs: are they going to be faster than the S8 and S8? Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 processor: given the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S are still pretty new, it's unsurprising that there isn't too much to go on the Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9. The investor reckons that it's going to be powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845, but given that doesn't exist yet, it's not much to go on, except that it will presumably be faster and more power efficient than the Snapdragon 835 that powers the S8 in the US. Outside of the US, Samsung powers phones with its own Exynos chips, and the company has announced that its latest batch will support up to 6 carrier aggregation 6CA. That's a lot of words, but what do they mean? Well, theoretically any phone that uses it, and the S9 and S9 are very likely to benefit from this, could get download speeds of up to 1.2 gigabits per second. For comparison, the Exynos 9 processor used in the UK S8 offered 5CA. According to a recent leak on Geekbench, an early version of the alleged Galaxy S9 was spotted in July, 7 or 8 months before we could even see the launch of the phone. A device with the model name SMG9650 was listed with a 1.78 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 845 processor and just 4 GB of RAM, more than the 6 GB some have rumored it to have. According to the benchmark, it scored 7,371 points in the render script test, which is lower than what the Galaxy S8 managed in the same test, oddly. We'd expect 6 GB of RAM in the latest Samsung phone, in order to keep up with heavy multitasking needs of consumers. Read next. Best phone battery life. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 camera. The well-known KGI securities analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, who has correctly predicted many launches and specs notably from Apple, anticipates the Galaxy S9 and S9 will feature a dual lens camera. This follows the footsteps of the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 that features two 12-megapixel cameras, one with an aperture of f1.7, the other with f2.4. According to Korean IT site ET News, Samsung will also feature a sensor capable of shooting at 1000 fps. This would allow super slow-mo videos, close to what is seen on the Sony Xperia XZ Premium, which has a sensor capable of 960 fps. It's logical that Samsung sticks to a similar camera design with the Galaxy S9 and S9. Some suggest the South Korea manufacturer might opt for a telephoto lens for its secondary lens, which will give it 10x optical zoom, making it superior to the iPhone 8, which currently stands at only 2x optical zoom. Following the launch of the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL, we'd expect Samsung to also step up its camera with improved post-processing capabilities. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 displays. With the Galaxy S8 and S8, we'd expect the S9 and S9 to come with a beautiful display, which will have an 18.59 aspect ratio and an HDR display. This will mean two things: a bright display and one that is color accurate. There is a slight chance the phone might be bendable too, but we're banking on this feature being exclusively used on the Note range only. Read next. Samsung Galaxy S8 review. The best phone on the market comes at a cost. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 fingerprint sensor. Expect to see a fingerprint sensor included. Its placement is most probably going to be around the back of the phone, as it was with the S8. However, we hope it'll be positioned a little better this time around. Given the release of the iPhone X, which uses your face to unlock the device through Face ID, we could even see a complete removal of the fingerprint sensor, in favor of a similar design. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 waterproofing as with the S8 and S8 that are IP68 certified, protecting them from dust and water at a depth of 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. We'd expect the S9 and S9 to follow suit. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 storage. 64 GB of internal storage comes as standard on the S8 and S8, and given the massive allocation of space that already includes, we won't be surprised if Samsung were to keep the same amount for the S9 and S9. We might even see larger storage options, such as a massive 256 GB phone too. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 connectivity. The phones will connect via a USB 3.1 Type-A port. It is rumored Samsung might ditch the 3.5mm jack too, which might upset a few, but given the current trend, we might have to deal with the latest Samsung phone coming without it. The Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 might feature a Samsung-branded artificial intelligence chip. According to the Korean Herald, the new AI chip will help the phone connect to smart home appliances. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Android 8.0 was released not long ago, and given the update cycle of the Samsung phones, expect to see Android 8 or maybe 8.1 included on the S9 and S9. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 battery. Galaxy S8 and S8 have a formidably good battery life, the Plus variant housing a 3500 mAh battery over its 3000 mAh sibling. Improved battery life would be a much welcome addition to the new 2018 line of flagship phones, so here's us hoping Samsung has optimized their upcoming flagship phones to reflect that. Read next. Samsung Galaxy Note 8 review. Bigger, better, less flammable. Priority yours now. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 things we'd like to see at this point. There aren't many rumors about what to expect from the Galaxy S9 and S9. Here's what we'd like to see on the new Samsung. less fragile design. One of the best things about the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 are the bezel-less edge-to-edge screen, but in practice, that's also one of its worst features. It might look great for the first 30 minutes or on the internet, but as soon as you drop the S8 or S8 you'll find that edge-to-edge screen splinters into 1,000 pieces. When Samsung releases the S9 and S9, we're hoping they'll be just as pretty, but also a little more durable. Better fingerprint sensors. Smartphones are pretty hard to design because of just how many things manufacturers need to include in them. Take the phone you're using now, for instance. There's a camera, screen, fingerprint scanner, speakers, memory, battery and so much more to squeeze in, and that means sometimes things end up in less than optimal places. Now, we love the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8, but its fingerprint sensor is directly next to the camera lens, which means you can miss and smudge your lens, and it does get pretty frustrating. We're hoping the S9 and S9 have a fingerprint lens that is much easier to reach. Make Bixby great again. When we first heard about Bixby, we expected a new type of AI that was much more sophisticated than Siri and would even give something like Alexa a run for its money. What we got instead, though, was something more like Clipart. Hopefully, Samsung will improve it in the S9 and S9. Bixby has since launched on the Note 8 and Galaxy S8 and S8 phones, but we've yet to test its capabilities.